I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up?
Buck back third down on the 8. In trouble. Got a block behind him. Gonna throw on a run. Complete to the 25. To the 30. Lindsey's got 35, 40. Lindsey's got 45, 50. 45, 30. Run, Lindsey. 25, 20, 50, 10, 5. Lindsey stop. Lindsey stop. Lindsey stop.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, baby. Time to roll for the Taco Tuesday edition of Snowman in the Morning. Cole Johnson in just a moment. Oh, we got some stuff to talk about. I'm going to say some things, and Cole's going to say a few more things that some people will get, a lot of people won't, and you know something? That is perfectly fine with me, because this is your midday sports-tacular. This is your midday sports extravaganza, where we have the hottest of hot takes and the coldest of cold, hard facts. And we bring it to you for 120 minutes, 5 days a week. And Cole Johnson is now with me. Good morning, sir. Glad to have you again.
Glad to be aboard. I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing great. I basically pulled an all-nighter in getting the show laid out, and for those of you watching via YouTube, please subscribe to the channel on your way in. Drop a like as well, and you see the number on your screen. For those of you tuning in via Real Wise Radio and STM Sportsnet, the text line is open, 919-912-2256, and we're just going to dive right in. Was there a football game last night?
Yeah. Unfortunately, one team didn't think there was.
Well, my opening statement is the following. I'm not impressed with either team.
I can understand that.
I mean,
unfortunately,
I heard a part of Dave Pash's call last night on the Cardinals network. I'm sorry. Rams and Cardinals, I'm not impressed.
Well, unfortunately, one of those two teams will be your NFC West champion. So,
really, doggone it! Hey, Cool McCain is with us via YouTube, and that's our video feed. We're doing exclusively YouTube. We pulled everything off Facebook. You'll see the highlights on Facebook. So, sub the channel, drop a like on your way in. I am not impressed with the Rams nor the Cardinals. You know how I feel, and I have a very good reason. Neither of these teams can run.
And that's a very good reason, because to me, that is the very reason why both these teams, they may get into January, but they will not go very far in January.
Nope.
Even if they play in their home stadiums. They will not go far.
And the Rams expect to host the Super Bowl with that putrid performance last night. And I know a lot of people are going to say, Snowman, they scored 30 points. Yeah, but how many times did Matthew Stafford throw the football?
Too many.
And the guys on ESPN/ABC, whatever the hell you want to call it, it ain't Al Michaels, it ain't Dan Dierdorf, and it's not Frank Gifford, rest his soul. And I'm just not impressed with that presentation. I'll touch that later on in the show. But y'all, what happened to the days? And Cole, you put it so eloquently. What happened to the days where people were not afraid to, wait for it, run the football?
It's funny, you have two different philosophies that do the same thing.
Yes.
One team
believes
they need to just throw it all over the place. Mm-hmm. Although I will say Stafford only threw the ball 30 times and only dropped back 33. But
it's still too damn many.
If you only ran the ball 21 times, that is not the balance you seek.
No, it's not. And the guys on ESPN/ABC were saying, the Rams are so balanced now. Really? That ain't what take the floor, Cole. Because all I will say is, for the next couple of minutes, that ain't what I saw.
And meanwhile, on the Arizona end, Kyler Murray takes the ball and has the ball in his hands far too much. Not saying that he makes errors, although he did throw for 2 picks yesterday. Not saying that it's dangerous for him to have the ball that often, which I personally think it is. Not because of size, but because it's the quarterback position, and you need to protect that position above all others at all costs. But because you need to not have your quarterback drop back more than 50 times in a game and actually do design runs with him. You don't need that.
See, I really believe, and Cool McCain is like really interacting with us. He says, not with Sony Michel. You're right about that. I'm sorry, Sony Michel was great at Georgia. What's he done in the NFL? I touch that later. See, this is why I believe the 49ers are the most dangerous team in the NFC. The Packers and the Buccaneers, and we talked about it yesterday, want to believe they have to throw 50 times a game because name recognition, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, 2 of the top candidates for most valuable player, okay? I will go ahead and spit that out as I have bile in the back of my throat while I'm saying that.
Unfortunately, they're the 2 top candidates for it, in my opinion.
Yes.
I have same bile.
I got
same
bile
phlegm
in my throat saying that mess.
Same bile in my throat too. Yes.
But the Packers and the Buccaneers actually have running backs, but they don't use them.
This is the problem I have with both those teams. For some reason, they want to be sometimey with their running game. And
would you say that again, please? For those and I'm really going to take you back. For those of us in the cheap seats at Old Tampa Stadium.
Oh, the big sombrero.
The big sombrero, doggone it. Would you say that again, please?
What frustrates me about the Packers and the Buccaneers is that because of the fact they have Rodgers and Brady respectively, they want to be sometimey with their running game.
Yep.
And they don't use it unless they absolutely need to. For example, the Sunday night game against the Bears at home. The first half, the Bears were just embarrassing the Packers.
Yep.
But the Packers didn't run at all. What did they do coming out the tunnel in the third quarter? AJ Dillon. And then all of a sudden you see Aaron Jones, but it was AJ Dillon being fed down the throat of the Bears.
AJ Dillon.
It's like you could do this all game long. Why is it you want to do it in spurts?
This goes back for Green Bay and all you Packer backers to 2 years ago. Why am I mentioning 2 years ago? Aaron Jones has been a Packer the past 2 years. They didn't use him then, especially, and yes, I'm bringing up bad memories for you Packer backers, especially in 2 games in Santa Clara where the 49ers ran the ball down their throat. That is why the 49ers, should they continue to get healthy, are the most dangerous team in the NFC. Period. They're the most dangerous team in the NFC.
The only problem,
stay healthy.
Yeah, you just stole the words out of my mouth. The only problem with them is health. That's the only issue with them. And
that's the only piece of bad luck the 49ers have had 3 of the last 4 years. Cool McCain asked a great question. Why did Arizona keep going for it on 4th down and keep blowing it? What were they, 1 for 5 or 2 for 5 last night on 4th down? That's too many 4th downs. And, I'll answer your question, Mr. McCain. You know why they kept going for it on 4th down? The same reason the Rams are going to do it in January, the Packers and the Buccaneers. They don't run the football.
And on top of it, Cliff Kingsbury's mentality, even when he was coaching Texas Tech, was
throw the air raid.
Air raid. Punter? What's a punter? 4th down? Oh yeah, that's just another down to execute a play on offense. That's their philosophy. He's always had.
And it's a bad philosophy.
It's a losing one too.
Horrible philosophy. While we're laying this out, we're going to talk Grizzlies later on in the hour, second hour, top of the second hour, I beg your pardon, with Wes Pruitt joining us from Memphis. Jay Spivey will join us today, and that's going to be fun. We get Jay today. He couldn't make it. He couldn't make it yesterday because he had a basketball luncheon, a basketball tournament luncheon, and damn, I wish I was there for that. I miss doing play-by-play. I'll amend on that later. But y'all, call me an old fart. I'm old, but I'm old school. Wife's the same way. Why don't y'all run the ball? This is why I picked the two teams that I did for my Super Bowl match in Los Angeles. The Colts and the 49ers. Why? Because
they both have a running game.
Bingo. And Elijah Mitchell is the second coming of Jonathan Taylor. The 49ers do right in the draft, and I expect them to, and fix the interior part of that offensive line. You can forget it the next few years.
I was going to say that's the next area they got to address the depth of the offensive line.
And that's what's cost them with so many injuries the last 2 years. Depth. That's it. I read a report yesterday. Peter King, very fine fellow with his job, says the 49ers have been internally impressed with Garoppolo's performance this year. Duh!
Why would they not be?
I mean, Peter King, I love you, but you're a little late to the party.
Well, no. All right, I'll put it this way.
Okay.
From the 49er standpoint and the 49er fan standpoint, which you represent, yes, Peter King is late to the party. Mm-hmm. For the rest of us, I'm not though, because I actually observe. But
can you say that again? We actually do what? We actually do what? What's that? What's that old word again?
What was the word I said?
I think you said observe.
Ostracize, ornate.
Nope.
Observe. Yes.
Yes. I got a buddy in Michigan, Ty Ray. Love him dearly. He told me earlier this year it's over for Jimmy G and the 49ers. Not so fast. I feel like I feel like Lee Corso. Not so fast.
Not so fast, my friend.
Not so fast, my friend. The critical Broncos fan interacting with us. Thank you for doing so. I mean, that I got to get him on. Cardinals D really sucks at home, with them allowing 21 or more points at home in 4 of their 6 games, and they are 1-3. Let me spit that stat out again.
He's correct.
He is.
He's correct.
Steve Levy mentioned another stat. How do you have more turnovers at home than you do on the road?
And it goes to what critical Broncos fan said. Seemingly, their defense plays a lot better on the road, and I don't know why that is.
Don't they?
They seem to show up and show out on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And at home, they seem to play lax, and I don't understand why.
They play so lax at home. The Rams and the Cardinals share a common denominator, and this is where I'm really going to piss off Rams family and Cardinal Nation. The common denominator that they share is this. Not only do they show out on the road more than they do at home, they take home field for granted. Part 1.
Mm-hmm.
And part 2, and most importantly, they don't lean on their defenses enough. I love you, J.J. Watt, but
they don't lean on the defenses, and the reason why they don't is because of the overall reason why you do not like the Rams nor the Cardinals as an NFC representative in the Super Bowl. They can't lean on the defense because both teams do not possess a running game.
Period.
And normally when teams possess a running game, they rely at some point in some stretch in some portal in the game, even if the defense is middle of the pack, they have trust in their defense if a team has a running game. And look at it. If a team has a running game, they trust their defense.
Yes.
Because they'll play field position if the run doesn't work for them on a set of downs.
Because your punter can flip the field and your defense can just pin their ears back and stop them. That critical Broncos fan, they've allowed 20 points or more in 2 of their 7 road games. We're talking about the Cardinals.
And that's doable. If they actually were great at home, that's doable.
You can get away with allowing 20 or more points twice on the road if you're good at home.
Yes.
See, and the key, I think, what does Mike always say? It always comes back to the Patriots for him. For me, it always comes back to San Francisco. They found a way to win. They find ways to win at home. Oh, my buddy Bubby Lewis, who played football at Trinity International, love this man. He's a coach as well. Cardinals blew their own game, and the Cardinals blew a chance for 2 things. 1, to clinch a playoff berth because it's not settled, and 2, a chance to strengthen their hold on not only the division, but the NFC.
Well, see, I have to strike a little bit through of the NFC, considering that, speaking of one of those home games, the Cardinals blew one against the Packers.
They sure did.
They wouldn't want to strengthen the hold. They basically would sort of keep the Packers at bay. And the reason why I say that is I know when going into the game, they had a 1-game lead over the Packers. I know. But I felt as though the Cardinals were trying to keep the Packers at bay, not necessarily try to strengthen the hold on it.
Trying to win.
Yeah, they're trying not to lose. And you saw it last night.
Herman Edwards, thank you for what I'm about to say next. You know it very well, my friend. You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game. And the Rams and the Cardinals, when they're in their respective home stadiums, don't. This year they haven't.
Yeah,
this year they haven't. And for my buddy Bubby Lewis, I must get you on the program. We're going to do that. And thank you to everyone that's interacting with us. I know we're approaching a break, but want to get this out. But like I said at the top of the program, I wasn't impressed, and I got no reason to be impressed. None.
Yeah, and they are a microcosm to me of the top end of the National Football Conference.
Yep.
There really is the team that just leaps out at me and says, "Oh man, I do not want to face them come January."
I don't.
None of the top ones. None of them.
None. That's the Packers. That's the Buccaneers. That's the Cardinals. That's the Rams. When I was
and
asked
you can
this
throw
question,
the Cowboys in there
and
too.
Especially the Cowboys. We'll touch that later in the week. We'll touch that on Thursday. People have asked me the last 5 weeks who the most dangerous team in the NFC is. And I've had this question posed in social media groups all across the country and around the world, in the region, across the nation, and around the world.
Okay.
And when they see and hear my answer, they think I'm crazy. But the most dangerous team, especially with what I saw on Sunday, are the 49ers in the NFC and the Colts in the AFC. And the Colts got a big one coming up Saturday night.
Oh yeah, they definitely have to. They definitely have a statement game Saturday night in Lucas Oil.
Which means
so hopefully they do come
Saturday
come
night
through.
Saturday night's gonna be a date night for me and the wife, because we have a little tradition that we follow. I'm not afraid of hey Bubby. I'll close with this point, then we'll go to break. I'm not afraid of Dallas. My buddy Rod Peterson, who will join us on Friday, big time Cowboy fan. I'm not afraid of Dallas because they're leaning on the wrong person. Or shall I say, they're leaning on the wrong aspect of their game. Bubby says, I can't stand Dallas with a passion. Bubby, remind me who your team is. I think it's New Orleans, But I want to be sure. Packers are dangerous. They can keep it up in the playoffs. Not if they run into a team that can run the football. Not if they run into a team that'll pound it down their throat.
Yeah, because the Packers are susceptible to two things: a team that can pound it up the middle, and their special teams showed it too. A little bit as a defense, also speed.
Yes,
those two elements mess up the Packers right now.
I don't care if you have 5 of the greatest wide receivers you think you can get your hands on. If you don't have a defense come mid-January and beyond, and if you can't pound the football, you're done. Again, I go back 2 years ago. The Packers were talking a whole bunch of mess. There's the southern part of me coming out. There's the southern part of me coming out. 2 years in North Carolina, and I will be back, Carolina. And I've had people from Carolina tell me that they miss me, and I miss y'all. They were talking a whole bunch of mess, saying the Packers were saying, we have the more experienced quarterback, tight end, running game, and Raheem Mostert pounded their asses for 229 yards. Not to mention 4 touchdowns. 229 and 4 touchdowns, and this is with them talking all that mess about we have more achievements than you. Okay, Packers, Buccaneers, Rams, Cardinals. If y'all are the top 4 coming down the stretch, prove it. Because a snowman ain't impressed. All right. We're heading toward a break. But I got a bone to pick with the NFL Hall of Fame. I'll explain that when y'all get back. Official Car Cleaning and Detailing highlights the first hour of Snowman in the Morning. Give my man Isaac Moore a call at 219-561-6645. That's 219-561-6645. You want to be a part of the show, want to sponsor it? Drop an email to snowmaninthemorning@gmail.com. That's snowmaninthemorning@gmail.com. Back in a flash. Tuesday edition of Snowman in the Morning. The fellas are chatting, saying that 7 spot needs to be Philly. The Eagles can't slip in because they finally figured out how to run the damn ball. Okay? Just run the damn ball. Bub's Gauntlet needs an ad. Hit me up. Hit me up, man. Hit me up. We'll talk about it and I'll hook you up. All right. Now, earlier this year, they announced the finalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and that list pissed me off.
Oh, man, I've been asleep behind the wheel. All right. Let's see. 2021 Hall of Fame finalists. All right.
I believe they got to the finalists, but I know a list came out of candidates for the Hall of Fame.
Because they normally don't announce who's going to go in
until the Super Bowl.
The night before the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so I'm behind the wheel. I'm asleep behind the wheel. But doggone it, there's a name missing off that list. And unfortunately, that name can no longer be on that list. Time to send an email. Email Pro Football Hall of Fame. CC Modern Football Voters. Subject of email. You're missing somebody.
Oops.
Body of email. Hear me and hear me well. I'm talking to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm talking to the voters. I'm talking to people that have an influence with the Pro Football Hall of Fame. There's a name missing. And Cole Johnson repeated a quote yesterday, something to the tune of, quote, if you can talk about football and mention a certain name and how they changed the game, then that person deserves election to the Hall of Fame. I have done this several times before, but the Pro Football Hall of Fame messed up. Why? Does the name Roger Craig mean anything to you guys? Roger Craig did something before Marshall Faulk and before Christian McCaffrey. Know what that is? 1,000 season. Did it in 1985. 6 foot, 220 pounds, played at the University of Nebraska. Wore number 21 at Nebraska. The legendary John Madden said it best. He gets those high knees. Did it wrong. Try again. John Madden said it best. Quote, he gets those high knees. He gets those high knees going, keeps those legs going like two pistons. Close quote.
Yeah, they are.
Know when he made that quote? The year was 1988. Scene of the crime, Anaheim Stadium. Victim, Los Angeles Rams.
That's Rams. Oh, let me throw something else into your mix.
Please do.
So the first 5 years of Craig's NFL career, he had the most receptions at that time for a running back, which was 358, I believe.
Yep.
The only reason why I know that number and stat is because it was broken this past Sunday by Alvin Kamara, the running back for the New Orleans Saints.
Yep.
Because he now has 359 receptions in his first 5 years. And of course, he has more to go in his 5th year.
Yep.
To understand how that is phenomenal. 5 years, a position that you don't throw to all that much,
Mm-hmm.
but you average it out, that is at least 70 receptions a year
Mm-hmm.
from a running back.
From a running
Oh,
back.
and by the way, this same running back not only gained 1,000 yards rushing one year, another year he gained over 1,500. So
Mm-hmm.
this wasn't just a third down scat back or like a Larry Sanders type for the Arizona Cardinals, who just basically was a glorified tight end or an H-back who happened to line up as a running back.
Mm-hmm.
No, Roger Craig was Mr. Everything. Not that you'd like that.
Roger Craig was one of the main cogs in the West Coast offense, founded by the Godfather, Bill Walsh.
I will dare say, I think that was the last cog which was missing for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he ran it pretty well in the early Montana years,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't run the way it was supposed to run because, well, Montana threw it all over the yard.
Yep.
But when he had someone who could take that pressure off of Montana in the running game,
Mm-hmm.
it was game, set, and match. That's when the offense took off.
Because,
As a
they
whole.
made the Super Bowl in 1981, but they
Mhm.
didn't have the running back that scared you. Amos Lawrence was okay. Bill Patton was
Bill
okay. Bill Ring was okay. But the West Coast offense really didn't get its wings until 1984, 83 rather, when they drafted Roger Craig.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and you want to know another first that Roger Craig did before anybody else did? 3 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 19. 1 in the air and 2 on the ground.
And that is never talked about.
Nope. Oh, and by the way, you want to talk about championships? 3 of them for Roger Craig. 3. 19, 23, and 24. And by the way, Jerry Rice set a record in Super Bowl 23 with 215 receiving yards. There was only one other receiver in the entire game that had plus 100 yards receiving. Guess who that was? You got it. Roger Craig. Caught 9 for 101, including 2 big ones on the winning drive. So y'all may celebrate Marshall Faulk for getting 1,000 with the greatest show on turf. Y'all may celebrate Christian McCaffrey for getting 1,000 in what turned out to be Cam's last season in Carolina. And by the way, Cam is 0-11 in his last 11 starts with the Carolina Panthers, but I digress. If you can celebrate those two, then doggone it, you need to celebrate, enshrine, and bronze the person who did it first. In an offense that to many a team, even today, is so complicated to understand that you can't stop everyone. And that person is Roger Craig.
Now, wait a minute. Before you even got into this email, you said that he would no longer be eligible to be considered for the Hall?
Correct.
How did this happen?
They kept passing him up. He even went to the senior committee. They kept passing him up. I am on record of saying on this show several hundred times that Roger Craig needs to not only be a candidate for enshrinement, but be fully enshrined. You can't talk West Coast offense without the impact of Roger Craig. I love Jerry Rice. I love Joe Montana, Steve Young, John Taylor. That offensive line, left to right, including a former Giant and Bartos, who played center in Super Bowl 29. I love you, Ricky Waters and William Floyd. And y'all know how I feel about Tom Rathman.
Shout out to Brent Jones.
Brent Jones as well. John Frank before him. Because remember, they drafted John Frank in 1981.
Right.
But if anybody from those 80s 49er teams deserves enshrinement, it is number 33, Roger Craig.
Wow.
So to everyone involved in the Hall of Fame, you messed up. You messed up royal. And oh, by the way, Roger Craig had an impactful performance in a conference championship loss. That would be 1983 against the Washington Redskins. And as unfortunate as this sounds, you know what they're going to remember Roger Craig for? His fumble against the Giants in 1990.
1990s NFC Championship game. Yeah.
They're only going to remember him for that. But the 49er Hall of Fame remember him for a lot more. I'm just waiting for the day that I fly out to Levi Stadium and I bring a few people with me when they retire number 33. Why? Because of Roger Craig. And I end with 3 words. Find the lie. Sincerely, Brian Snow. CEO, Brian Snow Digital Media. Host, Snowman in the Morning. In proud association with Cole Sports with a Z. Send.
Well, you will be, just to lighten the mood for you just a tad. At least they're considering Bryant Young.
Yeah, but damn it, I love Bryant Young. I'm working to get him and many others from that team in that era on the show next year. But damn it, I will continue to say they need to enshrine Roger Craig. Period.
Here's something that boggles my mind a little. So Roger Craig isn't being considered, but Ricky Waters is. And I have no issue with Ricky Waters.
I got none either. I got none with Ricky Waters. Why did y'all stop considering Roger Craig? That's my issue. Why is Roger Craig off the list? I know you got time limits and all that, but doggone it, y'all had 20 years to get this right.
And failed all 20.
And failed every single time. More than 20 years.
Yeah.
You had more than 20 years.
Probably at least 25.
A quarter of a century to get this right.
Mm-hmm.
And you failed.
I know, man. It sucks.
And it blows that someone like that with that immense talent and that immense, what's the word I'm looking for? Impact. That 5-letter word that I say LeBron James had not had on the NBA. Roger Craig had that kind of impact because for about 4 years, including 2 after Walter Payton retired, it wasn't Barry Sanders that people were talking about as the best running back in the NFL. They were talking about Roger Craig. Sanders exploded on the scene right at the tail end of 1989.
Yeah, I was about to say, to be fair.
Let's be totally fair.
Yeah.
Let's be totally fair. Barry Sanders didn't explode on the scene until late 1989.
Mm-hmm.
The couple years before that, including the year after Walter Payton retired, you know who they consider the best running back in the league? Number 33.
Yeah, because the talking running backs it was him, and then from mid-October on, it was Bo Jackson.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And rightfully so, and deservedly so. And that was until you had Barry Sanders and then Emmitt Smith coming into his own, and then Thurman Thomas coming into the league
Thomas.
Too.
And by the time Thurman Thomas came along, Roger Craig was still in that bunch.
But the funny thing is, I mentioned all of those running back besides Bo Jackson. I mentioned all those running backs that after Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith and Thurman Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of their style was implemented before then, years before, by number 33 in the Scarlet and Gold. A lot of it. A lot of how teams use their running backs was similar in the Kelly Gunn offense and in the doggone it. Why is the coordinator's name escaping me right now?
Mike Holmgren?
No. The Cowboys in the early to mid.
North Turner.
North Turner, thank you. And the North Turner's offense, which I think is one of the best offenses to me. And I'm talking about schemes.
Yep. You know who else had an influence as far as running backs go from the early days of North Turner with the Cowboys, and of course Mike Holmgren and Mike Shanahan. Does the name LaDainian Tomlinson mean anything to y'all?
Well, it's funny you say that now, because I was thinking of all the thousands.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one. And not only that, he ended up having 100 receptions in a year.
Yep. And where's all that influence coming from?
Yeah, it comes from Roger Craig, because the NFL didn't think to use 3-down backs in that way until he came along.
Yep.
Came along.
So
because before then, a running back basically was, you ran him up the gut at least 25 times a game.
Yep.
And then the only time you really threw toward him was screens.
Mm-hmm.
And most times in those screens, it was to bail out the quarterback who's facing a pass rush.
Yeah, that's it.
Not a design screen, which came about because that basically was a lot of what the West Coast offense is.
So as I said, NFLPA Hall of Fame, Pro Football Hall of Fame, you messed up large. 13,100 scrimmage yards for Craig's career. 11,506 of those came by the Bay.
Well, at least the 49ers recognize who he is, because he is in their team's Hall of Fame.
Good. Now they just need to retire his number.
Yeah.
They just need to retire his number. Up next, we got a Curry watch. Believe me, I'll explain. Join Snowman in the morning on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/SIT morning. For as little as $5, you can get access to extra content. And believe me, some of it's unfiltered. And y'all like that. Back in a moment. keep it moving. Text the show at 919-912-2256. That's 919-912-2256. And there's a curry watch going on, in case you haven't noticed.
That's a really good dish. It's flavorful. It's from the Caribbean. And you're not talking about that type of curry. I'm so sorry, man. My bad.
You know what's bad? When I was writing this morning, my wife made the same joke. When I was writing this morning, my wife did the same. Okay. Stephen Curry is 2 3-point field goals away from the all-time regular season record held by one Mr. Ray Allen. And Cool McCain said it best. Y'all want me to put some respect on LeBron James's name or James Harden? No. Y'all better put some respect on Stephen Curry's name, because Steph is chasing a record. He's chasing a unanimous MVP. And, oh, by the way, the Golden State Warriors are back on top of the West because Phoenix got worked last night by the Clippers. And where can Stephen Curry set this record? I'll give you 3 letters. MSG.
Oh, so this works out beautifully. This works out beautifully. So he gets to set the mark in New York, and where they would appreciate an athlete like him.
Oh, wouldn't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
7:30 tip tonight on TNT. So you know I'm in front of that.
Mm-hmm.
I may be out to dinner on a date night with my wife tonight, but I'm in front of that.
Oh, and by the way, just to give you a little teaser for tomorrow's Bronx Central Confessions. Stephen Curry, Wardell Stephen Curry II, will be mentioned in Bronx Central Confessions.
Oh, I can't wait.
So tune in tomorrow.
I'm cannot wait.
I'm sorry. Continue, sir.
Man, you ain't gonna you don't have to apologize. Cool McCain said it best. Put some respect on his name. 13 seasons. 13 seasons, Stephen Curry. In 13 seasons, Stephen Curry has done more than LeBron has done in 18 plus. I will say it again. For those of you that think I'm nuts, for those of you who think I'm crazy, for those of you who think I do not know basketball, including a person who supposedly has watched it for 52 years, let me repeat my statement. For those of you at the old Oracle Arena and the old Chicago Stadium, Wardell Stephen Curry II has done more and had more of an influence in 13 seasons than LeBron James has done in 18 plus.
You don't know basketball?
That's what they tell me. That's why I pulled out of most of the groups I'm in. Oh, and I got yelled at. Yelled at.
Why?
By a group administrator for posting the link to my show in that group. No spam or promotion. Really? And I know you've been through this.
Mm-hmm.
People promote all the time in those groups, and you don't see anything to certain people. What's that F word I'm looking for? Favoritism.
Favoritism? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really? That's all I have to say. Really?
You know, and I had the audacity to peruse social media about Curry. And fools wanted to point out that in the game that he played against the Pacers, that Curry only shot 8 of 20, and he chunked up 15 threes and only made 5 of them. You know.
Oh, you saw that too, huh?
Look, let me put it this way. We are talking about the best shooter in the history of the NBA, not most prolific. Best. And the reason why I put that distinction on it is because if any man can change the game, change a basketball landscape, being only 6'3" and 200 pounds, then you must Yes, it is Steph because you must be doing something revolutionary, which, oh, by the way, he is.
What has been my statement about Steph? And you brown sexuals hear me well, because there will be parts of Brown Sexual Confessions tomorrow that I will hijack when Steph is mentioned. I already know this. Snowman said it here first. Steph took an anomaly, because believe me, before Steph came along, the 3-point goal was still an anomaly.
Mm-hmm.
He took an anomaly and turned it into a, finish the sentence,
weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And how much of a weapon has he made it? This guy, for a career, not for a game, not for a couple of games, not for a stretch, not for a year, for a career, averages 43% from three. Averages 43% from three. The average, before Curry came along, and correct me if I'm wrong, sir, when Curry came along, you were considered gold star if you averaged 33% from three.
Correct, you are.
This guy, he chunks them up 2 times. He's liable to hit one of them. That, my friends, is what you call a trendsetter right there, an impact player right there.
Yep. And what's great about Steph, hear me well, brown sexuals, hear me well, Heart Knights, hear me well, Kyrie lovers. Oh, I'm going all the way in. And that's a segment we need to bring back and shape up. All right? That's a segment of yours I want to bring to the show. Remember, Cole Sports started Brown Sexual Confessions. We're just bringing it here because we got 120 minutes. Hear me well. Steph started taking them further and further and further out.
Mm-hmm. And because of that, as I have piggybacked often off of that statement of you saying that this guy took an anomaly and made it a weapon, Mr. Kerr, smart man as he is, because he studied under Greg Popovich and Phil Jackson.
Astute mind.
Mm-hmm. Astute mind. Oh, by the way, he played college under Lute Olson. So he had three bright basketball minds. This man had 3 bright minds that had coached basketball. Those 3 men have forgotten more about basketball than every fan, myself included,
Same.
knows.
Only person I would put above him will be the legendary Hubie Brown.
Agreed. 100. That's the to me, that is the only exception.
Only exception would be the legendary Hubie Brown.
Yes, that's the only exception. But this man sat on the learning tree of Lute Olson,
Yep.
Phil Jackson,
Check.
Greg Popovich.
Check.
And this man is not stupid. He saw this diminutive guy just chunk these threes up from at first 30, then 35, then 40, then 45 feet, and do it with regularity.
Yep.
And say, I need to do something with that. And he turned that weapon and he made it a strategy.
And by the way, Christmas Day, y'all.
Oh, yes. Warriors at Suns.
West Final round 3, okay? Because we've already have come to the conclusion that it'll be the Suns and the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. Only thing that has to be determined is who gets home court advantage.
Yeah, that's
it.
That's the only determination.
That's it. That's the only determination that's left.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was 2. That and health. If both teams get health, if both teams stay healthy, or both teams get healthier in Golden State's case, and who is going to have home court advantage in that round?
Yeah, because both teams can win on the road.
Yeah, both teams can win on the road, and both of them have proven they can win on the road.
Yep. Cool McCain along with us. Says great minds think alike. You damn Skippy. I've been talking about Curry's impact the entire time I've done this show.
Look.
I
Look. The previous professional basketball coach of Stephen Curry's career, Mr. Mark Jackson.
Yes.
Way back in 2014.
Oh.
Way back in 2014. Not when we all already lock, stock, and barrel knew these two were great shooters. 2014 said in public, "Oh, Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson, that's the best shooting backcourt in the history of the NBA." And people laughed at him.
And all they've done since is prove it.
Prove him right. Mm-hmm. And to me, this is when he said it out nationally. I'm sure in the Bay Area he said it before then. And this man saw this long before most basketball fans did.
And most basketball fans laughed.
They laughed at him then. They laughed at him the year after when we saw the rise of the Warriors as we know them now. And they had to shut up when Curry got his second MVP because they were seeing this guy hit these threes from 50 and 60 feet.
From ridiculous distances. And, oh, by the way, that second MVP award, there's a word in front of that.
Yeah. Unanimous. The first ever.
And he's chasing his second unanimous MVP.
He keeps going, you will get it.
I love Kevin Durant and the way he's playing. And those are your only two candidates right now. Giannis is working his way back into the conversation. If anyone else gets MVP votes, it'll be Kevin and Giannis. But right now, that MVP is Steph's to lose. And the only other determination, the only way that Steph does not win the MVP is if he's injured and he misses some games. A significant amount of games. But from all the reports I read, that's one thing he's worked on is his health.
Which I'm glad to hear. And I think he was getting to the point in his career where that's what he would have to do because his shot is too valuable to have him sit out. And he's wise enough to know that his shot is too valuable for him to sit out. And I'm glad he's working on his health. That's really good to hear.
You know what? Let me say this. And we're into the second hour. We'll make it official after the next break. Let me say this. And hear me well. I'll drop a tease of my own. Hear me well, Bronsexuals, because I will mention this tomorrow.
Okay.
I mentioned the impact that Stephen Curry has had.
Mm-hmm.
I've had so many people pose questions in these littered, watered down Facebook sports groups. When you hear the same damn takes all the time with no, what's the C word I'm looking for? Context behind it.
Oh, you mean like LeBron's the greatest of all time? Jordan sucks?
Yeah,
you mean those types of?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. And if you say different, your mama ugly, that type of stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
That.
Yeah.
All of that. I never said LeBron sucked. I said he's a fabulous athlete.
Which he is. Saying otherwise would be stupid. Yes, he's a wonderful athlete.
Yes. I just question his basketball acumen, in which I got called all kinds of names, and you know half of them because I showed them to you.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, during this second hour, there will be another instance of Cole perusing social media involving LBJ. I'll explain later. So many groups have posed the question, who is the next face of the NBA? Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. See, this ever-changing weather in southern Indiana, you'd think I was back in North Carolina. Anyway, you know about this ever-changing southern weather, man.
Mm-hmm.
One day it's 30 degrees, the next day it's 75.
Yeah, I can go on a rant about how the weather's been here, but I won't.
We'll save that for Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I've been asked so many times, who do I think is the next face of the NBA? Newsflash. He's already here. Another newsflash. He's been here for 13 years. Big ass newsflash. He's the only player to sign not one, but two $200 million extensions. Not LeBron. Definitely not Harden. And Ben and Kyrie are going to be so broke it ain't even funny.
Oh, that's sad. All right. For those who don't understand what my partner is saying, I'll break it down to you this way.
Please do.
Yes, he knows that the guy who you all want to talk about, along with the NBA and ESPN and Fox Sports 1 and NBC Sports and CBS Sports, is LeBron James. Yes, he knows this. He knows that LeBron James is a billionaire and that Curry is not on that type of level in terms of business acumen. Yes, my partner knows that.
Yeah.
Yes, my partner knows that in a large conversation, that if anybody were to do a poll and say who is the face of the league, the answer would be LeBron James. He knows this. He's not saying that Curry is the face of the league in terms of publicity.
Right.
And I think that is where you all get that mixed. And I've always said this. When it comes to publicity, the face right now in the NBA is LeBron James. It shouldn't be, but it is. But that's just how it goes. Because the next face they wanted to push is Zion Williamson. Another story, another time.
Thursday. Hell, tomorrow if we can help it.
But when it comes to the 94 feet of the hardwood, when it comes to the skill of the sport, when it comes to all of what the sport comprises, the athlete that is the most impactful of this generation is, without a shadow of a doubt, Steph Curry. And I'm not saying this as a Warriors fan, because I don't have a really interest in the Warriors at all. But these four eyes that I have, which have been watching basketball for 41 years, can tell you this guy is it. Because I've only seen about four guys maybe before him that has changed the sport since I started watching it. And seeing the four before him would be Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, because they changed it together.
1980.
Then Michael Jordan the next decade. And then Shaq the next decade. Now, before
Make it
Magic,
5, Kobe Bean Bryant.
Well, the reason why I don't mention Bryant is because he is similar to Jordan.
Gotcha. Good call.
Now,
good call.
Thank you. Now, both
still
my partner and I
still got to mention him though.
Oh no. Look, I love, I love Mamba. I have no problem. I have no problem lifting him up at all. Dude,
I got you.
I love dude.
Hey.
Now we both saw Dr. J play. Unfortunately, we both saw him play at the second half of his career. We didn't get a chance to see him in his glory ABA days.
In his ABA days, right.
Because he would be the one to precede Magic and Bird in changing the game.
Yeah.
Very few can say that. LeBron James cannot. And that is not shade to him. That's just fact.
See, but see, let me throw one question before we go to a break and I get Wes Pruitt on here to talk some grit and grind and Grizzlies. Why do people When my wife hears that and I'm on the air, she knows a question has like really wrecked my nerve.
Mm-hmm.
Why do people consider when we spit out things like this shade? I just consider it like you, astute sports mind that you are.
Thank you.
I just consider it fact.
Yeah, because it is.
It's not shade at all.
No, because I will pose this question to any Bronsexual. I don't pose this to LeBron James fans because they know.
Yes.
So I don't have to pose it to them. And the question would be, name me one thing on the court LeBron James has changed since he has been a member of any NBA team. One.
Should I cue the Jeopardy thing?
Because of and the reason why I say on the court, because if I would say basketball period, they'd be mentioning a whole lot of things like, well, the free agent market in 2010, summer 2010, and they'll mention that type of stuff.
Those are 3 hours I can't get back.
Right.
The summer 2000, and y'all know what we're referring to.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all know what we're referring to. Those are 3 hours I can't get back. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
right.
Please.
But on the court, where he plies his trade, and he has plied his trade NBA-wise since late October 2003, what one thing has he changed in the style of play since he has become a member of any NBA team? I dare you to give me one. But I can give you at least one with Curry. At least one.
I can give you at least three with Steph on the court. And there's an H word that I'm going to use that people would describe Kyrie with and describe James Harden with, but it doesn't apply. It applies with Stephen Curry. You know what that H word is? A little 5-letter word we like to call hybrid. Find the lie.
Yeah.
That's why Curry is celebrated the way that he is celebrated. That's why Curry is hated the way that he is hated. There's more hate than celebration when it comes to the 13-year veteran. And I can't believe he's been playing ball in the NBA 13 years. It doesn't seem like 13 years, does it?
No, it seems like it has flown by, man.
13. This is his 13th season.
Yeah. And
Cool McCain thinks the way we think, flopping when it comes to LeBron James's impact.
I would love to. Look, I will co-sign on that because he is one of the most innovative floppers I've ever seen. Yep. I will definitely say that.
Yep.
No question.
Yep.
Vlade Divac before him was a good flopper too.
Yeah,
so that's why I can't really say that. Yeah, but
there's a difference between 7 feet tall and 270 and 6'8" and 270.
Right. Too bad we don't have the visual because I'm doing the Martin two fingers to both eyes. I see you, brother. We here. We here.
We are here. We are here. All right. We got to pause for 180 seconds, but we're going to talk some grit and grind and have a 4-star Grizzly chat. Visit the Snowman in the Morning store, ladies and gentlemen, and support the hashtag SnowStrong as yours truly continues this battle with pancreatic cancer. And it's a battle that I plan to win. Back in a moment.
Instagram thing or whatever the heck. You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
The second hour of the Taco Tuesday edition continues, and now it's time to go down to Memphis, Tennessee, where I present Wes Pruitt from 4-Star Sports Media, and we're going to talk a little Memphis Grizzlies. How you doing, my friend? Great to have you on.
Thank you very much, Brian. I appreciate you having me on, man. I've been following your work for quite some time. You do an incredible job. Your professionalism is what sets you apart, I think.
You are most kind, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. Cole Johnson and the Snowman here with Wes Pruitt. Let's talk some Grizzlies. And first of all, you got to give me your thoughts on the way they honored Zach Randolph recently at the FedEx Forum.
You know, when you look at Zach Randolph, he epitomized the grit and grind mentality that the city of Memphis has just absolutely just I mean, we have this Memphis versus, it's not everybody, it's everybody.
Right.
If you're from Memphis, there's no V in there.
Nope.
But when you look at Zach Randolph, it's not really what all he did on the court that I think made him so special as a player. It's what he did in the community of Memphis and continues to do to this day. If you go back and look, Brian, he has gone in and paid people's utility bills at Christmas time.
Yes, he has.
Just the way that Zach has given back and really just embodied that mentality of the city of Memphis was beautiful. But a woman who works for Grind City Media, who covers the Memphis Grizzlies there in Memphis, said that is a night that she will never forget. And I completely agree. Everything about that night was beautiful. And then the Grizzlies walk away with a 113-106 win against a Houston team that was really pretty pesky.
Yeah, and Houston's starting to find their own. You know, the Rockets are starting to find their own. And I got to say, I'm a big fan of Grind City Media. I've seen some of their work on YouTube. Big fan of that. Big fan of your work for 4-Star Sports Media. And I think I'm going to make Wes smile when I say this. Not only is this show carried audibly by Real Wise Radio, but beginning tomorrow, when I get everything sent over, it'll also be carried by 4-Star Sports Media. So welcome aboard to the crew, my friend.
Yes, sir, man. We appreciate you, Brian. Like I said, man, you do an amazing job. You and your co-host both do an incredible job. You know, looking at the Grizzlies last night in a blowout win over the Philadelphia 76ers, 126-91. I mean, let's be honest, guys. Since Ja Morant went down on November 26th, the Grizzlies are 8-1.
Yep.
Who around the NBA would have thought that who I think is the future of the NBA in Ja Morant, when he goes down, who would have thought that the Memphis Grizzlies are one of the hottest teams in the league?
Yep. And Cole and I have said often on this show that we have a big-time basketball man crush on Ja Morant. I've had that since his days at Murray State. And Memphis ain't going away. Okay? Nope. Memphis is not going away. I hope Memphis gets one of the top 6 seeds and drops you-know-who into the play-in round. And I think Memphis scored a victory over the Lakers recently. How has this Memphis team come together even without Ja Morant?
You know, I think one of the key factors, and we talk about it on a show that I have on my network every week called The Point. We cover just strictly Memphis athletics, Grizzlies, Tigers, Redbirds, everything. One of the main things that we've been talking about all year is having Double J healthy and productive. And if you look at it last night, Dylan Brooks had 23 points.
Yep.
Jaren Jackson had 22 again. When you look at Jaren Jackson, he's averaging about 16 per game, 5 rebounds a game, and he's got 24 steals coming into the game last night. Jaren Jackson's health and Jaren Jackson's availability for this Grizzly team, I think, is really pushing this team forward. And then you've got guys like Desmond Bane and others that are stepping up in Ja's absence. And this team, without Ja, once they get Ja back next week, 23rd, the chemistry that we've got built now, then you bring Ja in with all his talent. I think this is setting up for a very nice run for this Grizzlies team moving into this All-Star break.
Wes Pruitt joining us here from 4-Star Sports Media, talking all things Memphis Grizzlies as we bring you the Grizzly Grind here during the second hour of Snowman in the Morning. You mentioned the biggest thing that is only going to help the Grizzlies when Ja Morant returns from his absence. It's called chemistry. The Lakers don't have it. The Clippers barely have it. But you got the Grizzlies, you got the Suns. Of course, you got the Suns and the Golden State Warriors. But since 2011, Memphis has been one of those pesky teams that when their chemistry is there, they will shock some people. They've done it to the Spurs in the playoffs twice.
Yeah. I mean, Brian, when you look at them last year in that first round matchup with the Utah Jazz, they were just out there hooping. Mm-hmm. They were just out there having fun playing the game of basketball. The Grizzlies, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm a diehard Grizzly fan. We didn't deserve to be in that 8th spot last year, but we got there and we made it. We gave Mike Conley and the Utah Jazz all they wanted.
Y'all gave Mike Conley the business, and I enjoyed that. Y'all gave Mike Conley the business. When I first met Wes, I said we had a conversation online, and I said two things, and I'm going to make Wes smile, and I'm going to make Cole smile as well. I know it's called the University of Memphis, but I'm used to it being Memphis State University. And, of course, the old Mid-South Coliseum.
Yes, sir.
I know it's the FedEx Forum. Before that, it was the Pyramid. But as we're talking Memphis Grizzlies with Wes Pruitt, you said you mentioned the chemistry of the Grizz with Ja coming back on December 23rd. You mentioned the importance of Jaren Jackson. Who else is going to be real important for this Grizzly chemistry, especially when Ja gets back in the fold?
I actually prepped for this question. Somehow I knew it was coming. I think it's going to be the old man of the team, and that's 27, 28-year-old Steven Adams.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of Grizzly fans didn't like that trade. We got rid of Valanciunas. We bring in Steven Adams. I personally liked that move. I think Steven Adams brings you a little bit more versatility at that position than other guys in the past. Now, you will never be able to bring another Big Spain, Marc Gasol type guy in there, but I like the fact that they bring in a young Steven Adams to pair with a young Jaren Jackson. I mean, this whole Grizzlies are the youngest team in the NBA.
Yep.
I mean, when you look at their potential, and I'm putting that in air quotes, and their ceiling, it's untapped. I mean, this Grizzly team is deep, as we see now that Ja is not playing and been injured. We see now this team's got depth, and this team's got some real players and scorers in positions that we may not have seen when Ja was playing earlier in the year.
So true. And everything's rounding into shape now for the Memphis Grizzlies. I absolutely enjoyed this conversation. I want to get Wes on every week to talk all things Memphis athletics. Yeah. You can follow him online at 4-Star Sports West. And please check out 4-Star Sports Media. It'll be an official carrier of this nationally syndicated sports show we like to call Snowman in the Morning. Wes, a pleasure to have you on, my friend. I'd love to have you on each week to talk Memphis sports. Let's do it again.
Yes, sir. Let's do it again. And real quick, speaking of Memphis, I hope I'm not slowing you up, but tonight's basketball game between the University of Memphis Tigers and the Alabama Crimson Tide, I think tonight's a very key game for Penny Hardaway and this staff to get it back going.
Yeah.
It's going to take every man not being jealous, not being a little baby in the locker room.
Right.
And you're going to have to suit up, play ball, and get a hard win tonight at FedEx Forum. And it's also Memphis State night, so I know that excites you, Brian.
Yes, it does. I'm old school, and that's how I remember it. But big game tonight for Memphis and Alabama. It's at the FedEx Forum. I want y'all to check it out. Like I said, check out my man Wes Pruitt at 4-Star Sports West on Twitter, and also 4starsportsmedia.com. I may have to bring you on and really start cycling some college basketball talk from Memphis. Thanks a lot, my friend. Appreciate the time. Can't wait to have you back.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brian.
Wes Pruitt joining us here, and Memphis State Night. Damn, I wish I was there for that. I really wish I was there for that. But thank you to Wes for coming on here. Visit the Snowman in the Morning store for all of your Snowman in the Morning needs: sweatshirts, drinks, drinkware, T-shirts, stickers, and more. Go to snowmaninthemorning.com/store for everything Snowman in the Morning. Pause for a break, and Cole Johnson peruses social media. And yes, LeBron is involved. We'll explain when y'all get back in 120 seconds. Had to make a couple of adjustments, so sorry that it took so long. Jay Spivey in a few minutes. You can text the show at any time, 919-912-2256 on this Taco Tuesday edition. We spoke a lot about Roger Craig. We did the Curry Watch. You can pick up the podcast at any time. Thank you, Wes Pruitt, for joining us as we speed through everything. Join Snowman in the Morning on Patreon, patreon.com/SIT Morning. And now we're current. And Cole, you sent me something as you perused social media yesterday. And I'm going to give you the floor.
All right. Okay. Well, you know, as I always do, I just want to roam through just to, just to see what people are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And what caught my eye was LeBron James actually naming, well, he's posed the question, I should say, as to the 3 best players in NBA history.
Really?
So, yes. So the first he said it was Jordan, and he couldn't get off of Jordan, but he just kept saying Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Then he said Dr. J
Yes, he did.
and Larry Bird. And he said, if I can have a 4th, Magic Johnson.
Magic Johnson.
So that doesn't really that didn't really surprise me, and it doesn't even irk me. Because he does have a good grasp of basketball history.
He does.
So
He does.
I'll admit that. That isn't what made me laugh, though.
Uh-oh.
What made me laugh was hearing people say, quote, he doesn't even consider himself better than Dr. J and Larry. He even knows he's not in the GOAT conversation. Close quote.
Oh, dear.
Now, I agree with that statement.
Same. Same.
I agree with that statement, but most were saying something to the effect of, quote, most greats don't include themselves. I hope I'm alive to see who is next. Close quote.
I saw that.
And I had to laugh at that because I'm like, yeah, but just about every great knows they come in the sport to have you all mention their names in your mouth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They don't, they understand that it would be in bad taste to say, yeah, I'm in there.
Mm-hmm.
But LeBron wants you to say, yes, LeBron James is one of the greatest to ever play, period.
In
my estimation, I think he literally wants us to say, oh, LeBron, you are the best player to ever play. Ever. Because if you don't say that, you get treatment like Michelle Beadle. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Ooh.
Doggone it, I didn't mean to say that. Oops. I didn't mean to say that.
Yes, you did. Because if you didn't say it, I sure as hell was going to say it.
Mm-hmm. But of course, we get the genuflecting and the fellatio preparing for homosexuals in play, and of course, this was a repeat comment from Twitter, which said, quote, it's amazing how LeBron at almost 37 is still being ripped for struggling when he has AD in his prime and not living up to expectations. Magic, Bird, Duncan, Hakeem, and Jordan were no longer relevant at 37.
Oh, Jesus.
That lets you know how great LBJ is. Keep it moving.
Oh, Jesus.
Close quote. Now, but before I give you the floor, when I read this comment, unfortunately, I heard in my head in the backdrop.
Mm-hmm.
That I just kept hearing that. Okay. The floor is yours, sir.
Read that quote for me again, please.
Oh, okay. All right. It says, quote, it's amazing how LeBron at almost 37 is still being ripped for struggling when he has AD in his prime and not living up to expectations. Magic, Bird, Duncan, Hakeem, and Jordan were no longer relevant at 37. That lets you know how great LBJ is. Keep it moving. Close quote.
That lets you know how great LBJ is.
Yeah, the fact that he's
Do me a favor.
he's like 2.5 weeks from 37, and when the others were 37, they were supposedly in this person's mind circling the drain. Yes.
Screenshot that and send it to me.
Oh, sure.
I'm gonna hold that. I'm gonna hold that ace until tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna use the old card game rule from the old school Price is Right.
Mm-hmm.
You just gave me an ace. I'm gonna hold that.
Mm-hmm.
Each of us will have a brown sexual confession tomorrow. Cole's will lead off hour 1. Mine will lead off hour 2. You just gave me an ace.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna hold it until tomorrow.
All right.
Jay Spivey is up next. I missed you. All right. Matter of fact, let's just not waste any time.
Oh, good.
Let's not waste any time. I'm going to fade him down for right now. So everybody is on. How can I say this and be respectful? Bugger that.
For Cam Newton for Pro Football Hall of Fame. I got my sign ready.
How can I say this and be respectful? Bugger that. Bugger that.
I haven't heard that phrase in a minute.
Hey, wife got me hooked on audiobooks. You pick up new words. Everybody's on Cam Newton's nuts. Yeah, I said it. Everybody is on Cam Newton's nutsack for being 0-11 in his last 11 starts. Here's Jay. What's up, Jay?
Cam Newton for Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm ready.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. It's Cam Newton's worst elf, Jay Spivey.
Man.
Jay, we have missed you.
Oh, man.
I've missed you guys as well.
Okay. There's a meme floating around out there that says, and I see no lie, Cam Newton is 0-11 in his last 11 starts. But we're not going to touch that little ace yet. Like I said, we're going to
save that.
We're going to save that. That is using the card game rule from The Price is Right. That's our ace. We're going to save it. Let's go up top to Mr. Tepper and company. And Jay, we said midway last year that this thing needed to be blown up and rebuilt. Do you find a lie in that statement?
I think you're 100% right. They do need to blow it up, but I just don't see him wanting to do it. I don't see any direction heading that way.
I don't either. You trade
they need a new quarterback. They need an offensive line.
Yep.
Their defense is not playing well. Their receivers, as I've said, are really overrated. Their highest paid player is a running back who cannot stay on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just one thing after another. They need to blow it up.
They need to blow it up.
Is extremely overrated. They fired their offensive coordinator. It just goes on and on and on.
It does.
It seems as if that start they had this year, it seemed to be very smoke and mirrors like.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to me, it was. I mean, if you look at their schedule at the beginning of the season, they played nobody.
Right.
They played absolutely nobody. Until they played the Cowboys, they played absolutely nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And everybody was drinking the Kool-Aid. Everybody was drinking the Kool-Aid because the Panthers went 3-0 after they beat Houston. Well, we all know what Houston's become.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes.
I hate saying it aloud, but we all know what the Texans are become.
That is a coal in everybody's stocking, the Houston Texans.
Yep.
Believe me, I know.
But when they played the Cowboys and started playing real teams, and you have to include the Giants because the Giants absolutely embarrassed the Carolina Panthers in New Jersey.
Now that's when I knew something was afoot right there, that game.
They embarrassed the Giants, embarrassed Carolina, and if you go back to the top of the season, Jay, they barely beat the New York Jets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Barely.
Barely.
Still
Yes.
beat 'em.
Yeah. I mean, people should have looked back. Yeah, the three, like you said, Cole. It was smoke and mirrors. It was smoke and mirrors.
Yep.
And they played nobody. And if you just looked at their stats and forget about the scores, I mean, they did absolutely nothing.
Not a thing. And the
Yeah.
2 times they had Christian McCaffrey, did he make somewhat of an impact? Yes. Did he make an impact for the entire game? No. And the last time he made an impact for an entire game was last year in Kansas City, and we all know what happened after that game. He got injured and did not come back. And yet,
Nope.
the administration threw a bunch of guaranteed money at Christian McCaffrey. Now, Christian's a fabulous athlete, okay? He
Oh, gosh,
celebrated he celebrated for having a 1,000 season. Kudos to him. Why can't he stay on the field?
Well, I want to make this abundantly clear. I think I have, but I want to make it even more abundantly clear. I don't want him to get hurt. I don't want anybody to get hurt.
Right.
Exactly.
But if you can't stay on the field, what good are you to the team?
And it's been true the last 2 years with McCaffrey. I said this to Jay, and I said this to Cole, and I said this to anybody within shouting distance. He was having injury problems at Stanford.
Yes,
was.
exactly
He was.
right.
He was. In fact, it was to the point where people were doubting his draft stock.
Yep.
Because of that.
His
I remember
That-
now.
junior
That's one of the
year.
reasons he didn't play in the bowl.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
His junior year at Stanford, he had all kinds of injury issues, and he missed 5 games.
He was one of those guys that started this trend of not playing the bowl game.
Yep.
Right.
He was
Yep,
one of the
he
first
was.
ones that did not play in a bowl game, and he started that. And he's one of the ones that started that trend. Jay, you're absolutely right.
You were 100% correct.
Everybody was licking their chops to draft McCaffrey after the game he had in the Rose Bowl against Iowa. Go back a couple weeks after the game he had against USC in the Pac-12 championship game in Santa Clara. Everybody was licking their chops then. But then he stayed a year and he missed 5 games. And when he missed that first game of the 5, his stock started to plummet. And since he's been in the league, and I'll throw this to Jay, since he's been in the league, except for that 1,000 season, his stock has continued to plummet.
I mean, I don't know if it's. I would go that far, but although I see where you're going there, but yeah, mainly his issue is not productivity; it's just staying on the field and being healthy.
Yeah,
I mean, if he's on the field, he's one of the most dynamic players in the league. But,
absolutely.
I mean, he has been so hurt the last 2 or 3 years. It's just one thing after another.
You know, McCaffrey reminds me a lot, and I'll bring a 49er into this, of Raheem Mostert, because they paid him, and he can't stand, and he's had bad luck with injuries. That's the only issue I have with Christian McCaffrey. He's had bad luck with injuries. And it goes to a point that Jay has said, and Cole has echoed, and I have echoed. He's being overused because the quarterback situation in Carolina is nowhere near fixed.
Listen,
and it's putrid.
Nobody hates the Cowboys as much as I do. But if you're going to go the route, and I'm still of the belief that you need a dynamic running back. But if you look at Zeke Elliott, and he's almost exclusively just a traditional running back.
Yes.
I mean, he catches occasionally, but he's almost exclusively a traditional running back. But he is beat up like beyond repair right now, and he's just running the ball. McCaffrey's doing both, and he's probably got the body of a 70-year-old right now, or even older.
And I hate to say this about Christian McCaffrey, and Jay, you and I talked about it a little over a month ago. It's safe to classify McCaffrey, and again, I do not wish injury on anybody. I don't. But given what I've seen, you can classify McCaffrey as damaged goods.
No question about it. But yeah, there's still those apologists out there.
Yeah, Jay, and you and I know a few of them.
We certainly do.
You and I know quite a few of them. Jay and I hooked up last year when I was in Carolina, and one of those apologists brought Jay to me, and I'm glad I've had Jay on the show for 2 years because we tell it like it is, just like my partner Cole and I do, which brings me to the ace I'm going to use right now. Who the hell said it was a good idea to sign a beat-up, broken down, oft-injured...
You mean self-proclaimed Superman?
Yes, him, Cam Newton. Whose idea?
Money.
I need to bring that. I need to find a way to mix that song in for Cole when I introduce him once. But
break out the OJs. That's okay.
There you go. But it hasn't worked.
Well, I go back again. We all know that was a David Tepper move.
Mm-hmm.
It 100% was. It 100% was.
David Tepper, because he likes being Jerry Jones.
Oh Lord, we have one. We don't need another.
You just
and unfortunately, we got a few of them.
He's probably going to be the GM at some point, just like Jerry is.
Oh God.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Oh dear
God. Didn't he fill a GM-ish type of role with the Steelers before he became owner of the Panthers?
Yes.
I don't know about that. He may have. I don't know.
I think he did. I think he did.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Expect that, Jay, because I could see that happening too.
I mean, it's clear he's got a monster ego and likes being in the public eye.
Just like Jerry Jones.
Just like Jerry Jones.
Just like Jerry Jones.
Well,
you're wrong.
I mean, I don't mean anything negative toward Panthers fans or the Panthers in general, but I got news. I mean, like I just said, nobody hates the Cowboys as much as I do, but
Same.
They are not near as popular as the Cowboys are.
No.
They don't have near the public interest that the Cowboys have.
Not since 2015 when they went 15-1.
Well, even then, I mean.
Well, yeah, true.
When you look,
true.
I mean, the Cowboys it seems like they're on national TV every week. I mean, it's because they get gigantic ratings every week.
Yep.
I mean, if you look, Sunday in Washington, it was seriously like a Cowboys home game.
Yeah, because the Redskins fans outnumbered. The Cowboy fans outnumbered the Redskins fans. You can hear it. I mean, every time the Cowboys made a positive play, the Cowboy fans were up and out their seats.
Yeah, it's a not so dirty little secret. A lot of people in the nation's capital hate the Washington football team, and
no
they
question
do
about it.
And they root for the Cowboys to get at them.
Yes,
it's mostly because they don't like the owner.
Yeah,
well,
they hate the owner.
Yeah,
they hate the owner.
The situation that's going on in Carolina can mirror the one that's in Washington, minus the scandal. The owner is not the owner is hated. The moves are hated, and the players that they have right now are not producing anything. Now with Washington, that somewhat differs, except for last Sunday in Landover, Maryland. But in Carolina, you got to rebuild this thing. It's got to be stripped to the foundation.
Brian, we've heard it. We've heard that the receiving core of Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore are spectacular, electric. No, they're not. No, they're not.
It's like
I don't. 1,000 yards is not a big deal in this day and age when you got 17 games.
Mm-hmm. And what was the number you put together, Jay? 70 yards a game.
It was 70... like 65 a game or 65 or 70 a game. Now that there's another game, that's even less.
It's even less than that.
Yeah, that's for 16
games.
Yeah, for 16 games, you need like 65 a game, 65 yards a game to get 1,000. Yeah, now it's less, so you got another game.
Yeah. And records are going to be broken this year with that extra game. But they were shouting the praises of DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson like he was like they're Deebo Samuel or somebody.
And they drastically need a tight end like every other dynamic offense. But
Thank you.
They traded Dan Arnold to the Jaguars in the trade deadline for some unknown reason.
I'm sorry,
that made no sense to me whatsoever.
None. You get rid of the biggest piece of your offense?
Well.
And the biggest piece of their offense is not McCaffrey. Because he can't they need to.
But I don't know what quarterback they're going to find. I mean, the draft's pretty weak quarterback other than Pickett.
The quarterback draft class.
Not this year.
It's going to be weak for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And they'll probably trade up and get Sam Howell from Carolina and just to sell tickets because he's from down near Charlotte. So. This would be a typical Carolina / Hornets move to do something that stupid.
And
you've
we
said
thought
that a
that
few.
we-
Jay, you've said that a few times here on this program.
And I'll continue to say it.
Yes,
we thought-
I mean,
please do.
I mean, to kind of break, the subject here, but the Hornets, if they want to be, 500 or be 8th, 9th, 10th in the playoffs every year, and you're drafting 15th or 16th and getting really nobody's in the first round, that's what they're going to be. That's what they're going to be. Same thing with the Panthers. I mean, the whole NFL concept is designed for parity and to make teams that are not good be good within a couple of years. Well, the Panthers have been sort of middling here since, like you said, 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're terrible. Now they're terrible.
Oh, and speaking of 2015.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
It seemed as though Charlotte felt as though it was all the way back there when they were in the desert earlier. And I heard this annoying sound from Glendale, Arizona.
Oh, no.
From a guy who wore number 1 saying, "I'm back."
Yes.
Don't you ever do that voice again.
Well, that's how he sounded. That
I
annoying,
know,
that
I know.
ridiculous.
You got 60, 70,000, and I know.
But I have to find it interesting and laughable at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That since he did that, the only thing he's done was throw 1 touchdown, and he's done nothing but throw interceptions all over the place.
And I go back, I go back to a stat that Jay quoted and Cole, you have quoted, 5 for 21.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Look,
the game
three of
before,
us-
that was horrible.
Yes, the 3 of us could do 5 for 21.
Yes.
Well, just like this past Sunday, he came in and he ran for a 1-yard touchdown. Well, I mean, I could maybe run in from 1 yard.
Yeah.
Right.
We all can.
It's just
Shucks. I mean, they need to.
He's not a running back. He's a quarterback.
Supposedly.
This is what frustrates me.
Supposedly.
Right there, Jay. That's what frustrates me the most. You have these fans, and some of them are in your neck of the woods. Not you, thankfully. But you have some fans who think, well, the fact the quarterback is athletic and can run and can pile up yards on the ground with his legs, well, that means he's a viable NFL quarterback. And I'm thinking to myself, what sport are you watching?
Lied? Who told that?
Just look at this
What
weekend.
sports are you watching?
Mm-hmm.
Look at this past weekend. Lamar Jackson got hurt.
Yep.
Josh Allen got hurt.
Josh Allen got
Both
hurt.
running
Right.
quarterback. Both of them
Right.
running quarterback. And you cannot do that to your franchise quarterback.
No, you have them run the risk of permanent injury, and it's like that doesn't sink into their brains. I'm like,
It really
you don't want
doesn't.
your quarterback to run all over the place, scramble
That's why
when
the Bills
necessary.
will struggle lately because they don't have a real running back.
Exactly.
Right, because they have to manage their running game through him, and I'm
Mhm.
thinking,
Exactly.
why?
If your best
And
running
the
back
next
is your quarterback, you got problems.
And the next example, you saw it last night. Kyler Murray.
Yep. He's
You
gonna get beat
saw
up.
it
and already
last
is
night.
getting
He
beat up.
got beat up last night. He's going to continue to get beat up because the Cardinals do not have a running game. All of these quote-unquote franchise quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, what do they all have in common? They have a quarterback that acts as a running back, and they have no real solid running game. And it's going to cost them.
And they have delusional fans who think they're Hall of Fame worthy.
Yes.
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 Oh gosh, I just don't understand how this logic seems to escape them. They're entertaining. Yes, I know they're energetic, they're athletic, they're difference maker, they're game changer. Yes, all that is true. But that quarterback position is the most important. You got to protect it at all costs, and you sometimes have to protect the quarterback against his own best interest.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady's only had one severe injury his entire career.
Yeah, which now spans 22
and he's
years.
now at 40, what was he, 43,
He's
44?
44 now.
44 years old and still playing, and probably could play another couple of years the way he's playing.
Yeah.
Because he hardly ever runs the ball unless he does a quarterback sneak, and he does that as well as any other quarterback who's ever done it.
One of the best to ever do quarterback sneaks is him. Yes.
Yep.
And I've actually had people say, well, that's a boring way of playing quarterback. No, it's not. That's the way
It's
to play
the best way
quarterback.
to. It's the best way to play quarterback.
And in my opinion, that's the only way to play.
Look at all those rings on his fingers.
Yep.
Thank you. 7 of them.
Yep.
And I'm like, that is the way to play quarterback. You're supposed to be in the position to say, I am the distributor of the team. All right, so I may not get the glory, but I want someone else to.
Mm-hmm.
So let my arm and my mind do the talking instead of my legs. And I just don't get how people can't see that.
It's
And
like what I told you guys a couple weeks ago. Quarterback is the worst coach position at any level
stole
of
my
football.
thunder. You stole
At any level of football.
Mm-hmm.
that's what makes
They have an athlete. They usually have an athlete at quarterback and don't want to teach the guy how to
want
throw
to teach him
or
how to
look for
play the
receivers
position.
or whatever. I mean, it's the worst coach position at any level of football.
when you say that, Jay, I totally agree with you.
It's the truth.
And
I mean,
it makes
all
me-
these
and it
RPO
makes me sick to hear it at the same time.
all
Yeah.
these RPO quarterbacks that have come into the league have not survived.
Well, you remember
No.
when this first started in the NFL, everybody's like, "This is not going to last in the NFL." Well, it's because now it's kind of trickled down almost every team. It's because coaches don't know how to teach quarterbacks.
Right.
That
Absolutely
and-
right.
It's
that
the
and-
easy way to coach. It's the easy. You just go ahead and run the ball. That's okay.
That and it's a copycat league
Absolutely. Yes,
because they saw the 49ers in 2016 go to the all with the Super Bowl with it, and they said, "Oh well, heck, we can have a quarterback do RPO and go to the Super Bowl. Okay, well, fine, especially if they're a defensive-minded head coach."
Yep. But now
Frustrates me to no
but
end.
now teams like the 49ers and the Colts and a couple of others have gotten quarterbacks that actually, I don't know, play the position of quarterback. And
because they
lean
have, like Frank Reich has done I mean, I'm not a huge Carson Wentz fan, especially since he won't get vaccinated. But
Mhm.
I mean, Frank Reich has done an excellent job with him.
that he does.
Yeah.
He does. And
He always has.
and-
He always has.
and they run the football.
Yeah, he always has done a good job.
they-
with Wentz.
they
Yeah,
run
they
the
got one of
football.
the best. They might have the
Mhm.
best running back in the league right now.
Jonathan
Yeah,
Taylor.
I
But he
believe-
won't get
I
the
believe
MVP. But he won't get the
No,
MVP.
No,
He wouldn't
that
even
would
get
be
stiff play.
unvaccinated Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers is the front runner for the MVP, and
Without
I
question.
got
Without
bile in
question.
my throat while I'm saying that.
That
Because-
bad liar.
Thank
Yes,
you.
he is.
Thank you. All right, we got to go. Jay, thank you very much.
Man,
I missed
love
you.
bro.
I love you.
Yes.
We got to keep this going each week. Thank you, Jay.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Enjoy your week.
You too, man.
Thank you. Bye.
I love having Jay on the show. Love having him on.
Oh man, that
breath
that
of
brother
fresh,
makes my
breath of
week.
fresh air. It.
Yes, that brother makes my that brother makes my week, man. I love Jay. I love his
Him
knowledge.
and Mike Debate when he's on.
Yeah.
Employed a guest picker. I'm gonna get Cool McCain back on the show. Everybody that I have had on this program, I'm gonna rotate him through. But Jay is one of the regulars, and he stays one of the regulars. Megan Price, one of our regulars, and she's gonna stay one of our regulars. In fact, tomorrow I got a segment dedicated to women's sports, and it's gonna expand. Okay,
Oh, nice, man.
I made a commitment, and I'm going with it.
And I think it's time that women's athletics is shown
Yes,
because it gets slighted for
doesn't
no
it?
reason.
Say that again.
It-
Say that
it
again,
gets-
please.
It gets slighted. Well, I would say it gets slighted for one reason. Because you have chauvinists who think, well, they're girls. They don't play like guys. Guys are much better. Well, in certain instances, not so much, man.
There
Not
is a
so
young
much.
lady that I'm going to do my best to get on the show, and I've watched her play since her days at Naperville Central High School. Her name, Candace Parker.
One of the best basketball players, period,
Mhm.
to ever do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Chicago native at boot.
Chicago native, Chicago Sky, 2-time WNBA world champion.
And
Okay.
she's beloved where I am. Oh,
I know.
They
Checkerboard,
love her
Checkerboard
here.
Nation loves Candace Parker. They
They
love the
love her
real
here.
CP. Look, they love the real CP3.
yes.
They love the
They
real
lo-
CP3.
They love them some Candace Parker here. Yes.
I do too.
I-
Cheryl
I-
Miller, Cynthia, Candace Parker. Let's go back. Cynthia Cooper, Cheryl Miller, Cheryl Swoops.
Mm.
I
Love
know
all-
I'm going
love all
old school
them.
with a lot of. I know I'm going old school with a lot of people, but a young lady I failed to mention, Rebecca Lobo.
Mm-hmm.
Rebecca Lobo. I want to get Doris Burke. I want to get Doris Burke on the program. I want to get
That
Beth
woman-
Mowens on the program. I mean, I really believe it's time for us as a program and as two media companies that believe the same thing to really shine the light on women's athletics. You down with that?
Yeah. Oh, I'm down with not only women's athletics, but also women behind the mic too, because they know a thing or two. They can teach a thing or two about sports to all of us also.
I would love to have been old enough to interview Phyllis George.
Same.
I would love to have been old enough to interview Phyllis George. Anybody who remembers the old school NFL Today, God bless you, Brent Musburger and company, and also Irv Cross and Jimmy the Greek and that crew.
The late great Irv Cross.
The late great Irv Cross. Yes, Irv is one of the reasons I got into sports media. Okay,
Same.
Irv is one of the reasons I got into sports media. Y'all know the main reason: Jim Durham and Johnny Kerr.
Yeah.
I would love to have had an interview with Phyllis George or Gail Gardner. You know who I had a chance to talk to and get to know when I was covering the Proviso West tournament one year? I want to say it was 2006. There's a young lady who is one of the voices of the Brooklyn Nets. Her name is Sarah Kustok.
I've heard that name. Yeah.
Her brother played at Northwestern, Zach Kustok. He was their quarterback in 2000. But I got so many plans in my head right now. And the one woman I have to thank for putting this idea on my heart 2 years ago, I got to say it, putting this on my heart 2 years ago and said, I believe this is where you need to concentrate your energy. My wife. Dr. K said, baby, this is where you need to concentrate your energy because you get just a little bit higher when you cover women's sports. Well, I watched the Spider-Man cartoon this morning and pulling an all-nighter and he said, well, my spider senses are tingling once again. And this time I'm paying attention. Because women's sports get slighted too damn much.
Yeah, it does.
Women's sports get slighted too damn much.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. And it's got to change. The Good Old Boys Network is done as far as I'm concerned. The Good Old Boys Network is done. Okay?
And it needs to go.
It needs to be eliminated.
Yeah, it needs to be gone.
If you can host 70,000 people at Lucas Oil Stadium for the men's basketball final, you damn sure can do the same thing for the women's basketball final.
Oh, heck yeah.
You could put 70,000 people in Lucas Oil Stadium, open the roof, if it's warm, and go with it. Open the roof and go with it, man.
It's not that difficult.
It really isn't. NCAA is making money hand over fist. And we're inside of overtime here on Snowman in the Morning. NCAA is making money hand over fist. Hand over fist.
Yeah. And they're making money hand over fist in the women's game. Like you already know.
You already know those comparisons that you brought to me. Those comparisons that you brought to me. You can't set the same thing up for the women that you did for the men inside that bubble in Indy? Really?
Yeah,
or you can't bring it to Phoenix, Arizona, State Farm Stadium? I don't believe that.
And then when you hear the excuse of, well, why is it that women sports doesn't get the shine that men sports get? And they'd say, well, it's because of revenue, which that is true, but it's incomplete.
It is.
It's 100% incomplete because yes, revenue does generate what and does dictate what people cover. No question. However,
it does.
Yeah. However, you got to put the effort into doing it. And I'm not seeing many of these sports entities, both amateur and professional, putting in the legwork to making that happen for women's sports. I am not seeing it.
Well, hell, let's fix that.
And And if so, please point us to it because we will shine that light on you.
We will. But I still hold to the dream that you, Eric Wilson, and myself this year will cover the WNBA in spades. I'm already going to launch my coverage of women's basketball here, not just in Indiana, but across the country. I'm redoing a website, but I'm putting it on hold because I want to make sure all my ducks in a row, and plus I want to make sure my health is in order.
Man,
okay.
You know what's funny? You're saying that to me. I take that as a different and better challenge. Like if you were to say, "Well, we're going to cover an NBA game," I'm like, "Cool," and I'll get excited for it, and I know we'll do it eventually, and it'd be cool to do it. It'd be cool to do it.
Mm-hmm.
The WNBA, I'm getting hyped, and I feel I'm challenged because when I look at their sport as just opposed to the men's side of things, I know that I'm dealing with a bunch of athletes who do the fundamentals a whole lot more, a whole lot better, and a whole lot more often.
And that's why I love women's basketball. And that's why I love women's softball, volleyball, soccer, fundamentals. Fundamentals rule.
And people think, well, because the women's game in any genre is not as athletic as the men, that makes them weak. No. No. Doesn't make them weak.
That's some bull.
It's just like the genders of man and female, male and female. We're different. The same thing with sports. It's just a different take of the same sport.
That's it. That's all
just,
it is.
Yeah, it's just different take on the same sport. The men are more athletic, the women are more fundamental. It's just a different take.
And people don't like that different take. We'll pause there and we'll pick this up tomorrow because I definitely will work this segment into the program. Thank you to got a couple patrons that signed up, Jason Gasser and Brandy Singleton. Thank you for all the photo courtesies that you folks saw. Thank you to Cole Johnson, my partner, to Jay Spivey, to Wes Pruitt. And you heard the commitment here. We're going to be committed to covering more of women's sports. Tune in Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. via TuneIn, via YouTube, and RealWise Radio and 4-Star Sports Media. You can also tune in via snowmaninthemorning.com/live. That's where you can hear the replay 24 hours a day. Till tomorrow, have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, then they are not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. We are, and we hope y'all are too. And women's sports, we're going to change the coverage. If we are foolish enough to think that we can, then damn it, we are. We're out of here. See you tomorrow.